Is it time to reveal your real magic and become seen, known, and valued? Hello, and welcome to this week's Visionary Voices Deep Dive. This week we're talking about showing up when you are falling apart. And if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay, just type in the comments, say hello or replay, and let me know what drew you to this topic. Why are you here? Because I know if you're here in this community, you are likely a transformation leader who is walking your talk and doing your own inner work. And that can often involve doing your deep processing work and having at times an emotional roller coaster where you go in to the darkness to do the deep work that actually qualifies you as a transformation leader. And one of the things I hear a lot from my community is how can I show up and be visible when I'm falling apart myself? How can I invite people into my world when I'm deep in my own process? So this is such a great question, and this is something that I want to explore with you today. So let me know, what's your experience around this? How does this show up for you? How does this affect you? Does it affect your consistency around your visibility? What strategies do you have around this topic? So, and I know sometimes there are definitely times I'm definitely an advocate for having some cave time, for switching off some of the times, for needing to go into your own cave and into your own energy field to do that deep work and that processing. That's absolutely beautiful. What I'm talking about here today is not pushing through that. It's really about navigating both the inner work and the outer work with grace and ease. So how does this show up for you? And also, what I often see, and this is one of the things that I really want to address today, is we can sometimes feel shame around having stuff. It's like, oh, here I go again. I'm in process again. There's something wrong with me. One day when I am all fixed, all better, I can show up and be visible and be consistent, and it won't be a problem. And so if you are, like many of us, carrying some shame around doing the deep inner work that makes you a transformation leader, I just want to bring some tenderness to that and really address that as well. So, and this is important because your voice matters, your voice is needed, and there is a magic to going through your own transformation cycles that is really, really powerful on an energetic level. It's really powerful for the work that you do. But what I see people thinking, the stories that we put around our own process, is I'm still a work in progress, so how can I be in integrity, helping people with the topic that I still struggle with myself? And we kind of think, we feel ashamed, we feel out of integrity with having stuff, I can help you with this, but I'm still struggling with this. But what I want to invite you into is a reframe in that actually you being in the active energy of transformation yourself creates a field of transformation, actually creates a field of integrity, because you are alive on your growing edge in the transformation that you are inviting other people into. And so they come into your field and they shift. It's beautiful, and I've experienced this so many times myself. So actually, if you're not in process, if you're not on your growing edge around the transformation you're inviting people into, that is when you're actually out of integrity. So let me know, wherever you're watching this, let me know in the comments what resonates with you here. What is your experience? And do you often feel, I can't show up because I'm in meltdown myself? So is this something that's really relevant for you? So we've talked about the ways you might be secretly judging yourself for having stuff, and the way that doing the deep work is you being in integrity. And every time you go into the darkness, you bring more light. And I just want to, really affirm for you that it's so normal. This is why my logo has spirals in it. We are not going around in circles. We were spiraling out in evolution. And whenever we step into a new level, often the core patterns, the old devils, pop up again. New level, old devil. And you're working through that, your next level of transformation around that. So drop a comment. So Jenny, hi Jenny. Yes to navigating the inner work and the outer work. For me, this is consistency of showing up, and self-kindness is often my strategy to get moving again. Beautiful. Self-kindness is so important, both for yourself and whoever you're showing up for. And I want to offer another reframe on when we are putting ourselves out there in the world. So whether you're doing a post or a video or a launch, or you're inviting people to a call to do some deeper work with you, in each invitation, and I like to call them invitations, so you're inviting people into your world, each invitation can be an initiation. And the bigger the invitation, the bigger the new level you're stretching into, the bigger the initiation that your soul is guiding you through. And an initiation is a death and rebirth process. I know I've done a number of launches and I'm in the middle of another one at the moment, and it's very powerful. I look back and see the old parts of me that had to come up and get exposed through this initiation. And often there's an old story that I've been holding onto that sometimes in a painful way gets triggered, that to reveal itself. It's like, oh, this time I'm seeing how I am overgiving in order to get what I want, rather than being open to receive what I want. Or it might be I'm noticing my belief about what's going on for other people and how they see me. I am seeing when people say no to the invitation or don't engage, that, oh, it's triggering, my old fears of being rejected. So the stories that we have around our old stuff come up. And it's like that ego identity needs to get punctured in order to be revealed, so I can say, oh, I see that belief, I see that story, I can let that go. And in that, moment of initiation, it's like a crumbling, it's like an old identity falls away. And if you are saying, I am in process, I am falling apart, you might not fully go through the initiation process. And this can seem quite tough, but sometimes when you're not pushing, but also not holding back and saying, I'm going to show up anyway, I'm going to fully embrace this initiation process. I'm going to see all the ways in which I am believing that the universe is not supporting me when actually my soul is guiding me to let go of parts of me that don't serve me. And I want to just breathe into this knowing that sometimes walking through that fire is an intensely vulnerable process. And when you get beyond that feeling of exposure, it's like all the old stories get stripped away. You feel exposed and you have to go through that exposure, that vulnerability, that feeling naked to get to the expansion on the other side. And this is a sacred process. And if we trust that process, trust that initiation that we're in, I don't hear a lot of people talking about this in this way, then we can keep going. We can see it through rather than step back and, yes, tend to the feelings that come up, but without energizing the old story. Because what can happen is we get triggered. Oh, nobody wants me. It's true, or, I've been burned at the stake. It's not safe. And we don't actually get through to the other side of the story, which is actually life is supporting me to let go here. So what's resonating with you here about seeing your sacred invitations as a sacred initiation that is here to help you grow into the next level, to help you release the old stories and the old beliefs that no longer serve you? So just share with me in the comments what is resonating for you around this reframe. And as you do that, I'm going to share a beautiful poem with you by Tara Moore called Even in the Struggle. So just let these words wash over you like music, to just bathe any tender parts of you that might feel shame, that might, not know how to show up when you're in your tender moments. Even in the struggle, you are loved. You are being loved, not in spite of the hardship, but because of it, through it. The thing you see as wrenching, intolerable, life's attack on you, is an expression of love. There is the part of us that fears and protects and defends and expects, and has a story of the way it's supposed to turn out. That part clenches in fear, feels abandoned and cursed. There is another part, resting at the floor of the well within, that understands. This is how I am being graced, called, refined by fire. The secret is, it's all love. It's all doorways to truth. It's all opportunities to merge with what is. Most of us don't step through the door frame. We stay on the known side. We fight the door. We fight the frame. We scream and hang on. On the other side, you are the one with the earth. Like the mountain, you hum with life, like the moss. On the other side, you are more beautiful. Wholeness in your bones, wisdom in your gaze, the sage self and the surrendered heart alive. That's Even in the Struggle by Tara Moore. So just breathing that in, noticing what gets touched here through these words. And just bringing all of that tenderness to yourself, to holding yourself. And the way to keep on showing up is, yes, as Jenny said, bringing so much tenderness and kindness to yourself. But also knowing that the meltdown is part of the process and you can trust it. There's nothing wrong. And also knowing that when it comes to picking up your children from school, when it comes to getting up in the morning to fix breakfast for the family, when it comes to showing up for your best friend who's just had the most terrible news, you know how to do it. You know how to show up no matter what. And if and when you create a rhythm that you are devoted to in your visibility, whatever that looks like for you, there's no right or wrong, but just trusting your own soul knowing and shifting that from a nice to have to I'm going to show up no matter what. I'm committed to that, like I would for the client who's booked in for me. I know I've had times where I've showed up for clients and a few minutes beforehand I've been deep in my own process, melting, vulnerable, not sure how to show up. I show up for the session because I trust that the energy will come through. And honestly, magic happens. They melt. They melt because I have been allowing myself to melt and shown up anyway. It's the same with the visibility. The energy comes through because you're standing in the middle of the fire. So this kind of real devotion to your soul calling, to your own sacred rhythms, and having the accountability, support, rhythms in place that really support you to show up, and that gets you through the little initiations and the big initiations, to really find this new soul aligned rhythm for you. So what are you taking away from this? What does your devotion look like? Are you clear on that? Are you afraid of committing to that because on some level that it's going to bring up the initiation? Because that's another reason we step back rather than step through the fire, because it takes something. It takes something to allow those old stories to crumble and fall away. And if you trust that this is for you, this is for your process, what would shift? What would shift if you showing up is, when you're falling apart, is you actually healing the part of you that's falling away? So what are you taking away from this? Please share your ahas in the comments. Lyra saying showing up in the fire. Love that. Yes, absolutely. And Jenny, yes, the old stories come up with each evolution phase. Love how you put it, an initiation. Magic comes through every time. Yes, and it makes more sense than the story of falling apart. yes, we are, you know, we are falling apart, but we're letting go of these things that we don't need, these old stories that have been holding us and protecting us and defending us and keeping us small. And I get it, these parts are very old, they're well held in place, and this is why showing up even through this, crumbling process is what will get you through to the other side of that fire, get you through to the place where I'm like, that no longer has power over me. And so it's about really being integrity with that process. Yes, and Jenny said that there's nothing wrong showing up because I trust it's there. It's been built up over time and magically comes through. Monica is saying, trusting that you're partnering with a bigger energy that also wants to come through you. Yes, absolutely. And just because we show up with expectations, if I, show up and do these things, I'm going to get these results. And that's kind of transactional. And our soul is kind of like going, yeah, let's expose those old beliefs that are not aligned. And let's really shift from a simple way of thinking into a deeper initiation into a soulful life. So that's beautiful, and thank you for sharing your insights with me today. This is, a sample. This is a taste of the container that I'm holding people in my work. I've got a new 9-month program, Magnetic Radiance, starting. So if you would love to be held in a container that's big enough for you to show up in your greatness and to fall apart and let go of old stories and old parts of you in a container that sees none of this as wrong, that supports you to walk through that fire, to issue your potent invitations, to create your aligned rhythm, and to, really see through those initiations in a way that you come out different the other side. I'm, also still inviting people into calls about Magnetic Radiance program. So this is one where you're going to be clearing a lot of the blocks and the old stories. You're going to be cultivating the energy that wants to come through and take up space, your superpowers, the skills to be able to hold all of these parts of you as you walk through the fire, so that you can hold space. You know how to navigate these fierce initiations and come through radiant and magnetic and changed on the other side. Really hop on a call with me. It's a 9-month journey. There are 3 calls a month. There are 2 3-day retreats, and you will be taking on a project. So you're really getting out on the court and showing up and having this experience of how this feels for you, how this works for you, how you can hold yourself through it. So you won't be just doing the inner work. You won't be being pushed just to get out there and do stuff. It's a real mixture of the two. So just feel that. How would it be to really be held in a space where this kind of container, this kind of initiation perspective is the center of how we're holding you to show up no matter what's going on. So hop on a call with me. You can book in for an exploration call if you think this might be a fit, or even if you think, I'm not sure, maybe there's something else. Do book in for a call. I'll just put the link in there as well. There's still some spots available. There's a beautiful group coming together, and speak to me about it and continue. Jenny's saying, I can't wait for this. Yes, Jenny, feeling the energy build so powerfully. Yes, I'm so excited to have you on board. And let me know your takeaways from this What does this invitations as initiations mean for you, and how does that change things for you? Okay, so I will hopefully speak to you soon, and bye for now.